The chisel slipped from my fingers and clattered against the stone slab, echoing like a gunshot in the silent world I'd built around myself. But I felt the vibration ripple up my arms before I could brace for the fall. In that split second, as dust settled on my workbench in the echoing halls of the Rhode Island School of Design, I sensed him, Ethan, rushing forward, his hand steadying mine not with pity, but with the fierce grip of someone who'd fight the gods themselves to keep me from breaking. "You're not alone in this darkness, Alex." His lips formed words I couldn't hear but read like scripture on his face, his eyes blazing with a promise that shattered every wall I'd ever erected, pulling me into a storm of color I could only feel. That moment wasn't the beginning, but it was the crack in my armor, the one that let the light in, or at least the warmth of his touch, which felt brighter than any sun I'd never seen. I'd come to RISD 3 years ago, fresh out of a high school in suburban Ohio where special needs was code for set him aside and let him rot. Born blind from retinopathy of prematurity and deaf from a meningitis scare at 2, I'd grown up navigating a world that screamed invisibility at me. My parents, God bless their Midwestern hearts, had pushed me toward practical things, accounting, maybe, or law with Braille books, but art was my rebellion, my middle finger to a universe that had dealt me shadows and silence. Sculpture, specifically, the one medium where sight and sound were luxuries, not necessities. I could feel the clay yield under my palms, sense the marble's cool resistance, mold emotions into forms that spoke louder than words ever could. RISD was supposed to be my salvation, a sprawling campus in Providence where the air hummed with creativity, even if I couldn't hear it. But college isn't kind to outliers. My first semester, I was the freak in the corner, the kid with the white cane tapping like Morse code through crowded studios, my guide dog Luna, a fluffy golden retriever, trailing behind like a furry shadow. Professors nodded sympathetically, classmates whispered, or so I imagined from the sudden halts in foot traffic, and I buried myself in work, chiseling away at busts that no one else understood. Until Ethan. He transferred in sophomore year from some fancy program at Yale, art history major with a minor in sculpture, because why not chase passion when money's no object? I learned that later, piecing together fragments from vibrating phone texts and the patient fingers of ASL interpreters. Ethan was everything I wasn't. Sighted, hearing, effortlessly charismatic, with that East Coast polish that made him smell like old books and fresh rain. He was the guy who could debate Pollock's drip technique over craft beer at 2 a.m. His laugh probably lighting up rooms I could only navigate by scent and touch. But he saw me, really saw me. Not as a curiosity but as Alex, the sculptor with hands that bled stories. It started innocently enough, or as innocent as anything gets in a pressure cooker like art school. We shared Intro to Conceptual Sculpture, a class where the assignment was create absence. Everyone else went abstract. Empty frames, voids, and canvas. But I carved a faceless figure reaching into nothingness. Its fingers splayed like they were grasping for sound waves. Professor Hale called it visceral. But I felt the room's tension in the way feet shifted, breaths held. After critique, as I packed my tools, a hand brushed my arm. Not tentative, but deliberate. "That piece? It's like you trapped silence in stone." "I'm Ethan. Wanna grab coffee? I mean, if you do caffeine." I froze, my heart slamming against ribs like a hammer on anvil. Social invites were rare. Most people assumed my world was a closed circuit. But his touch lingered, warm and unhurried, waiting for my nod. I typed on my phone, "Sure, but I can't hear the barista, so you'll have to be my ears." His response buzzed back instantly. "Deal. And I'll describe the latte art. Promise it's not as pretty as your work." That coffee turned into walks across Benefit Street, where he'd guide Luna and me through cobblestone paths, his voice, unheard but felt in his chest's rumble when he spoke close. Painting pictures of gas lamps flickering like fireflies, ivy-cloaked brownstones whispering secrets from the 18th century. Providence felt alive through him. The salty tang of Narragansett Bay on windy afternoons, the chaotic symphony of Thayer Street performers vibrating up through the sidewalk. He'd sign slowly at first, clumsy American Sign Language picked up from YouTube, he admitted sheepishly. Then with growing fluency, his hands dancing like they were born to it. "You're teaching me more than signs, Alex," he'd text one night after a late studio session. our fingers brushing as we shared a bench overlooking the Seekonk River. You're showing me how to see the world without eyes. I fell for him in fragments, like assembling a mosaic from shattered glass. The way he'd position my hands on a new material, cool bronze one day, warm beeswax the next. His breath steady against my neck as he murmured encouragements I lip-read in the dark. Our first real date wasn't a date, not officially. It was a midnight raid on the RISD museum, after hours because his RA buddy had keys. He led me through galleries I'd mapped by memory, placing my palms on Rodin's Tormented Lovers, Brancusi's Bird in Flight. Feel that curve. He'd sign against my thigh, his fingers tracing the air. Its desire frozen mid-breath. Like us. The word hung in the ether, electric and terrifying. In a school teeming with queer kids, rainbow flags fluttering from dorm windows, pride panels in every syllabus. Being gay wasn't the hurdle. It was the layers. My disabilities as the ultimate buzzkill, the fear that Ethan, with his golden boy aura, deserved someone who could laugh at his jokes, match his stride without a cane. But he dismantled that doubt piece by piece. One rainy October evening, as thunder rumbled through the ground like distant drums, he pulled me into his dorm room, the scent of wet wool and microwave popcorn thick in the air. His hands found mine, pressing a small clay token into my palm. A tiny heart, ridged with braille for mine. I don't care about the silence or the dark, he signed, his forehead against mine. You light me up, Alex. Let me stay. I wanted to believe him. God, how I did. We became inseparable. Studio partners who blurred into lovers, our sculptures intertwining like our lives. He'd sketch my forms while I molded his ideas, our bodies syncing in a rhythm that needed no words. Kisses were explorations, soft maps of lips and tongues, his stubble grazing like sandpaper on silk. In those stolen moments, tangled on his futon with Luna snoring at our feet, I glimpsed a future. Joint shows in Soho galleries, a loft in Brooklyn where we'd argue over kiln temperatures via vibrating alerts. Ethan made me dream in Technicolor, even if I could only feel the hues. But dreams have fault lines, and ours cracked under the weight of unspoken truths. It started small, missed texts, his hands signing later with increasing haste. I chalked it up to midterms, the relentless grind of Riz's crits where egos shredded like wet paper. Then came the betrayal, sharp as a snap chisel. It was mid-November, the air crisp with fallen leaves crunching underfoot, when I tapped into the student lounge for our usual post-class debrief. Luna guided me to our corner booth, but the vibration of his phone against the table was frantic, not the lazy buzz of memes. I waited, fingers drumming patterns on the wood, until a classmate, Jenna, Ethan's ex-roomie from freshman year, brushed past, her heels clicking a warning. "Hey, Alex," she signed awkwardly, her touches hesitant. "Ethan's tied up. Family stuff." But her pauses spoke volumes, the air thickening with pity scent, that cloying mix of cheap perfume and regret. I pressed, "What's really going on?" She faltered, then typed on her phone, screen vibrations spelling doom. "Saw him with Tyler. Kissing. In the quad. I'm sorry." The world tilted, silence roaring louder than any storm. Tyler, star of the painting department, all sharp jaw and sharper wit. The guy who'd once sneered at my touchy-feely sculptures in crit. Ethan and Tyler? It didn't compute. Not with the heart in my pocket, the promises etched in clay. I stumbled back to my dorm, Luna whining at the urgency in my gait, tears hot tracks down cheeks I couldn't see but felt burn. Betrayal isn't abstract. It's visceral, a gut punch that leaves you gasping in voids deeper than blindness. I confronted him that night, storming his room with Luna's harness jangling like accusation bells. He was there, scent of turpentine and guilt heavy, his hands fumbling for mine. "Alex, wait. It's not." But I read the lie in the tremor of his fingers, the way he pulled back. Through frantic signs and texts, the story spilled. Pressure from his family, old money wasps from Connecticut who whispered, discreet, when he came out, who saw my complications as a scandal waiting to erupt. Tyler was safe-sighted, hearing, pedigreed. A dalliance, Ethan claimed, a moment of weakness after a brutal family call. "I love you," he signed desperately, palms slick with sweat. This changes nothing. But it changed everything. Trust, once carved, shatters irreparably. I ghosted him for days, holing up in the sculpture lab, pounding clay into abstractions of rage. Twisted limbs, hollow cores. Professors noticed, pulling me aside with concerned vibrations through the floor. Friends rallied. My ASL tutor, Maria, signing pep talks over greasy diner fries. A queer affinity group hosting tactile art nights where I could vent without words. Yet the ache lingered, a phantom limb of what we'd built. The climax hit like a nor'easter, raw and unrelenting. Finals week, our joint project due. A collaborative installation on interdependence, iron rods and fabric veils weaving vulnerability into strength. We'd planned it for months, my tactile weaves guiding his visual lines. But with the rift, I worked alone, Luna's paws patting echoes in the empty studio. Ethan showed up on presentation night, the air electric with crowd murmurs I felt in shifting drafts. Professor Hale introduced us, her voice, per interpreter, praising our raw synergy. As the class circled, hands exploring the piece, I sensed him near, his cologne a traitor's flag. After, in the dim afterglow of string lights, he cornered me. Feel it, Alex. We made this. Together. His fingers traced the central knot, where our signatures intertwined in raised relief. I yanked away, heart hammering. You broke us, I signed, fury boiling over. For what? Approval? Fear? He crumbled, signing back in sobs I felt in the air's quiver. I'm scared too, of losing you forever. Tyler was a mistake. A panic. My parents. They threatened to cut me off if I settled for someone who couldn't keep up. But you're not settling. You're everything. The confession hung, a precipice. Around us, the party pulsed. Laughter vibrating walls, bottles clinking like distant chimes. I could walk away, chisel him from my life like flawed marble. Or, lean in, risk the fractures. Prove it. I typed, voice steady in text. Cut them loose. Choose us. Not the easy path, the real one. He did, in fragments at first. A heated FaceTime with his folks, their icy tones translated by a reluctant interpreter, ending in slammed doors and frozen accounts. Whispers rippled through campus. Ethan Whitaker, heir apparent, going rogue for the blind sculptor. Tyler slunk away, tail between legs, while skeptics waited for the fallout. Winter break tested us. I went home to Ohio, snow muffling the world further. Ethan's daily texts a lifeline. Photos described in lush detail, a cardinal's red slash against white drifts. Voice notes transcribed to vibes of longing. He visited unannounced, trudging through blizzards to my folks' porch, signing I love your son, with mittened hands to my bewildered parents. They thawed slowly. Mom brailing his thank you notes, Dad gruffly admitting, kids got grit. Back at RISD, spring bloomed tentative. We rebuilt, scars and all. Therapy sessions where counselors signed through our silences. Joint hikes along the Blackstone River where his arm in mine was anchor and compass. Our love deepened, humanistic in its mess. Acknowledging privilege's shadows, disability's strengths. Ethan advocated, pushing for accessible studios. I taught him resilience, hands shaping not just clay, but forgiveness. Graduation dawned golden, gowns rustling like autumn leaves in reverse. On the quad, amid cheers I felt an earth's tremor. He slipped a ring onto my finger, simple platinum, engraved with braille for forever. No grand gestures, just us, two artists weaving absence into presence. As we walked into the haze of post-commencement brunches, Luna leading with wagging tail, I knew the betrayal's echo would linger, a flaw in our sculpture making it more beautiful. Grateful, eternally, for the classmate who stood by me, not despite the dark, but because it revealed his light. Yet life, that capricious curator, had one more twist. Months later, in our cramped Brooklyn walk-up, rent split from entry-level gallery gigs. Ethan's phone buzzed with a final severance from his family. A letter, cold as Connecticut marble, disowning him fully. He read it aloud, transcribed, voice cracking, but I pulled him close, our hearts sinking in the quiet. We're our own legacy now, I signed, lips brushing his temple. In that moment, betrayal transmuted to freedom. Our story not tragedy, but testament. Love, in all its dramatic fury, carves the deepest truths. The summer after graduation blurred into a haze of freelance gigs and late-night inspirations. Our Brooklyn apartment a chaotic nest of half-finished canvases and clay-smeared drop cloths. Luna had retired to my parents' farm, her golden years spent chasing squirrels in Ohio fields, leaving Ethan and me to navigate the city solo, me with my cane-tapping subway grates, him with a sketchpad perpetually in hand. New York was a beast. All honking horns I felt in my bones and skyscrapers looming like judgmental titans. But it was ours. We landed a dual show at a tiny Bushwick gallery, Veiled Visions, where my tactile installations met his luminous paintings. Silences visualized, touches illuminated. Opening night was electric, vibrations from clinking glasses and murmured critiques pulsing through the floorboards. I wore a button-down Ethan had ironed, his fingers lingering on collarbones as he signed, "You look like a masterpiece." Patrons grazed the pieces, their gasps translated by a hired interpreter. Awe at the raw intimacy, the way my woven wires evoked isolation pierced by connection. Ethan hovered, ever the protector, describing reactions in hushed signs. That critic from Art Forum? She's hooked. Says it's revolutionary queer kinship. Pride swelled, hot and unfamiliar, chasing shadows of doubt. But success bred scrutiny. Whispers followed. How does the blind guy do it? Ethan's carrying him. Old wounds festered, betrayal's ghost lurking in every sidelong glance. One reviewer, a smug voice-up-header named Harlan, penned a takedown. Whitaker's talent shines, but is it symbiosis or savior complex? The disabled artist's work feels derivative, propped by privilege. I felt the article's sting through Ethan's trembling hands as he signed the quotes. His apologies a litany. He's an asshole, he insisted. Don't let it dim you. I didn't, but it ignited something fiercer. We countered with a follow-up piece. Echoes of us. Sculptures of fractured mirrors, reflecting or not. The viewer's face, challenging perceptions of wholeness. Ethan painted backdrops of stormy skies parting to dawn, symbols of our mended fractures. The response? A quiet roar, invites to queer art collectives, a TEDx slot where I'd speak via projected signs and Ethan's narration. For the first time, I felt seen not as anomaly, but iconoclast. Yet domesticity's rhythm revealed cracks anew. Ethan's freelance dried up amid the recession's bite. His trust fund severed, leaving us scraping by on my disability stipend and sporadic commissions. Arguments brewed in silences. Me signing "we need a plan," him retorting "I'm trying." "Alex, give me space." One blistering August night, heat wave turning our loft into a kiln. He stormed out after a row over unpaid rent, his door slam vibrating like thunderclap. I paced, cane sweeping arcs of worry, until his text buzzed. At the pier. "Need air. Love you." Hours stretched eternal. When he returned, dawn's light, described as pink-streaked, filtering through blinds, he collapsed beside me, signing apologies into my hair. I called my sister. She's sending money, no strings. But it's not about cash. It's fear. Of failing you. Vulnerability poured. Tales of childhood expectations, the golden child buckling under legacy's weight. I held him, tracing spine's curve, whispering in signs. My own terrors, of abandonment, of being burden. We're equals in this mess. I molded into his palm. That night, we made love not with urgency, but reclamation. Slow dances of skin and breath, reaffirming bonds. Fall brought olive branches. Ethan's family, thawed by a sister's mediation, extended tentative invites. Thanksgiving in Connecticut, neutral ground. I balked, why risk it? But he pleaded for closure. For us, the drive was tense. Autumn foliage ablaze, Ethan narrated vividly. Crimson maples like blood on gold. The estate loomed, all columns and chandeliers, sense of beeswax polish assaulting my senses. His parents greeted stiffly, handshakes firm, words polite via interpreter. "Welcome, Alexander. We've heard. Impressive things." Dinner was a minefield. Silverware clinking judgments, conversations skirting edges. His father, A banker with voice like gravel, per Ethan, probed my adaptations, phrasing laced with condescension. Remarkable how you manage. I signed back coolly. It's not management. It's mastery. Tension peaked when his mother, pearls clicking like rosary beads, murmured about discrete arrangements, code for separate lives, optics over authenticity. Ethan erupted, chair scraping fury. This is my life. Alex is my partner. Deal with it or lose me for good. Silence fell thick as fog. They conceded marginally, monthly checks reinstated, invitations extended. Not warmth but truce. Driving home, Ethan wept, signing thank you for being my courage. I squeezed his thigh, we carve our own path. Winter solidified us. A queer youth outreach gig landed. Workshops at GLSE and events. Me demoing tactile art for disabled LGBTQ plus kids. Ethan facilitating discussions. One session, a teen named Riley, non-binary, hard of hearing, sketching with shaky hands. Mirrored my younger self. How do you not give up? They signed. I placed their palm on a soft clay lump. Feel the give? That's possibility. And love? Steadies the chisel. Ethan's gaze met mine across the room, brimming with that fierce devotion. But humanism demands shadows for light. Spring unearthed Ethan's secret. Therapy unearthed buried trauma. A coming out beating from boarding school days. Bruises hidden under ivy blazers. Tyler. He knew that wound. Poked it. Confession over rooftop wine. Non-alcoholic for me. Sense of fermented grapes teasing. He bared soul. Betraying you was betraying myself. Afraid of the pain repeating. Forgiveness flowed anew, deeper, therapy joint now, signing through psyche's labyrinths. By summer's cusp, our story looped. Another show, Resilient Threads, touring Midwestern museums. Standing in a Chicago gallery, hands linked amid admirers' hum, I felt completion. Not flawless, but full. Betrayal? A chisel mark enhancing grain. Ethan, my steadfast classmate turned soulmate, had stood by me through tempests, emerging not heroes, but humans. Flawed, loving, alive. 2 years into Brooklyn's grind, the city's pulse began to wear thin. Subway delays rattling my schedule, freelance droughts testing tempers. Ethan suggested a road trip, recharge the muse. He signed one crisp September morning. Map app open on his phone. Vibrations promising escape. Destination. The Southwest, canyons and deserts where textures reign supreme. Sandstones grit under palms. Winds whispering secrets through slot canyons. I agreed, craving horizons beyond concrete cages. We piled into a rented Jeep, Luna's successor. A spry lab mix named Echo, curled in back. The drive unfurled like a sketch. Pennsylvania's rolling hills giving way to Appalachia's misty vales. Ethan's narrations painting vistas in vivid signs. Amish buggies like black brushstrokes on green fields. Stops dotted the route. A tactile tour at Falling Water. Frank Lloyd Wright's cantilevers humming under fingers. A queer folk festival in Asheville. Banjo strums felt in chest as we danced, bodies sinking to unheard rhythms. Utah's Red Rock Country hit like revelation. Arches National Park first. Ethan guiding me along trails, his hand firm on elbow as boots crunched primordial earth. Delicate arch, he described, placing my hands on its span. Smooth curve soaring skyward, wind sculpted like nature's own masterpiece. I molded air in response, imagining a series. Geological lovers, embracing eternity. That night, campfire crackling warmth into night, we shared stories. His of stifled boyhood sketches, mine of finger-painting symphonies in preschool silence. You make the world tangible, he signed, embers glowing on his face. I see colors because of your touch. Monument Valley followed, buttes rising like silent sentinels. A Navajo guide, voice resonant, per interpreter, shared lore. Twins born of earth and sky, forever parted yet entwined. Echoes of us. We camped under stars, Ethan swore blanketed like diamond dust. His body spooning mine against chill, breaths mingling in cosmic quiet. Intimacy there was pure, kisses tasting of sage and sweat, explorations guided by sensation alone. No words needed. Our skins conversed in caresses, reaffirming vows etched in desert dust. The trip's pivot came in Sedona. Vortex sights, swirling energies mythologized to heal. Ethan booked a session, skeptical but open. What's the harm? The practitioner, a soft-spoken woman with hands like willow branches, led us to a crimson outcrop. Seated cross-legged, she signed instructions. Breathe into fractures. Let go. Vibrations hummed. Crystals? Chants? As old pains surfaced, my isolation's ache, Ethan's guilt's thorn. Tears fell unbidden. Salt tracing paths I felt sting. Ethan held me through it, his signs a lifeline. I'm here, always. Emerging, cleansed, we vowed renewal. More travels, collaborative books. Tactile tomes blending his visuals with my forms. Back in Brooklyn, the road's gift lingered. A vortex of inspiration. I launched Terra Intima, sculptures evoking landscape's embrace. Ethan illustrating companion prints. Galleries nibbled, then bit. A Soho spot committing to solo-ish show. Winter whispered changes. Ethan's sister, Lila, our unlikely ally, announced a visit, baby in tow. Aunt Alex and Uncle Ethan, she texted, emojis bursting like fireworks. The weekend was chaos. Tiny fists grabbing canes, gurgles vibrating laps. Lila confided over coffee, mom's thawing. Saw your show review, proud, she said. Progress, incremental as chisel strokes. But conflict stirred domestic waters. A job offer landed for Ethan. Curator at LACMA, LA's sun calling. Tempting, he signed, excitement thrumming. I froze. Uproot? Again? Brooklyn's home. Our roots. Debate raged. Pros? Sunlight's endless palette. Disability resources galore. Cons? Leaving queer networks. My tactile NYC haunts. Nights frayed. Silences stretching like taffy. One blizzard-lashed evening. Snow muffling streets. I snapped. Don't make me choose between you and stability. He recoiled, signing it's us or nothing. Impasse. We sought counsel. Maria, now therapist extraordinaire, signing wisdom over Zoom. Growth demands risk, but not at love's expense. Compromise brewed. Trial run. Sublet our loft. Test Cali waters. Packing was purgatory, boxing memories, echo whining at change's scent. LA dazzled, per Ethan's dispatches. Palm fronds rattling like applause. Oceans roar a constant bass line through sand. We leased a bungalow in Silver Lake, hills rolling like green waves. RISD alums welcomed. Barbecues with queer artists. Hikes where I mapped trails by eucalyptus tang. The Getty's Gardens became sanctuary. Sculpture courts under my palms. Ethan's arms steady. Yet adjustment chafed. Cities sprawl isolated. Ubers erratic. Public transit a myth. I missed Brooklyn's grit, the subway's communal hum. Ethan thrived, curating exhibits on marginalized voices, his passion reignited. Guilt gnawed him. Am I dragging you? I signed honestly. It's hard, but you're worth the friction. Climax crested at a gala. Ethan's first big curation. Unseen narratives, featuring disabled queer artists. I debuted a piece, Vortex Bond. Twin spires linked by vibrating wires, symbolizing our road-forged unity. Spotlight, felt in heat's bloom, fell. Applause thundered groundward. Post-event, mingling amid claret sips, Ethan's ex-mentor cornered him. Tyler's echo, all smarm. Bold move, Whitaker. But your partner's work? Charity case vibes. Ethan bristled. Signing retorts, I lip-read fierce. I intervened. Cane planted. My art stands alone, as does our love. The slight lingered, fueling resolve. Back home, we unpacked. Literally boxes spilling as metaphor. Stay or go? Ethan asked, vulnerability raw. I chose, stay. Build here. Together. He exhaled, signing my North Star. Spring bloomed hybrid. LA roots with NYC visits. Our love a bridge spanning coasts. Ethan's family mended further. His father attending the show virtually, admitting impressive grit. Son. Humanistic arcs bend slow, but bend they do. By summer, Terra Intima toured, echo prancing at openings. In a Santa Monica sunset, Ethan's words. Apricot skies bleeding to indigo. We renewed rings on beach sand, waves lapping promises. Betrayal's scar? Faint now, texture adding depth. Grateful for the classmate who'd stood through canyons, critiques, crossroads, by me. 5 years post RISD. Our lives wove a tapestry resilient as hand-spun wool. Ethan's LACMA rise paralleling my commissions for inclusive museums. Echo's silver muzzle a timer on joys. We'd adopted a rhythm. Morning signs over coffee. Black for him, herbal for my sensitivities. Evenings sculpting side by side, his brushes whispering against my chisels. Queer community enveloped us. Pride floats where I'd ride shotgun, tactile banners fluttering. Holiday potlucks with chosen family, laughter's vibes like bass drops. But plate tectonics shift subtle. Ethan's 40th loomed. Milestone mocking my 35. Time's asymmetry a quiet nag. He joked via signs, old man needs legacy. I countered, our life's the canvas. Yet seeds planted. Talks of family, not blood but built. Surrogacy whispers, adoption dreams, logistics labyrinthine for us. Disabilities demanding advocates. Opportunity knocked via Lila. Her nonprofit expanding. Seeking art therapist for LGBTQ plus youth. You'd be perfect, Alex, she texted Ethan too, curate workshops. Back east, temptation tugged. Familiar streets, RISD ghosts. We weighed. LA's shine versus Providence's patina. Decision deferred. Life's current carrying us. Suspense built autumnal. A retrospective at MoMA. Sensory revolutions. Curating my decade's work alongside contemporaries. Prep consumed. Shipments crated. Install supervised remotely via Ethan's eyes. Travel anxiety peaked. Flying blind, pun unintended, meant pre-boarding rituals. Interpreter wrangles. Ethan steadied. I've got the visuals, you've got the soul. New York hit like homecoming. Cab fumes sharp, Hudson's briny kiss. Hotel suite overlooked Central Park. Leaves crunching under cane as Ethan narrated foliage fireworks. Install day, hands roaming galleries, verifying placements. My Echoes series pulsing center stage. Wires humming viewer interactions. Opening gala swirled. Vibrations of heels on marble. Sense of orchids and ambition. Ethan's arm anchored. His signs buzzed excitement. Crowds mesmerized. You're a hit. Midway, conflict crashed. Harlan, that voice critic, resurfaced, now panelist, mic in hand. His spiel dripped. Alex's oeuvre? Undeniably poignant. Yet one wonders. Without Whitaker's scaffolding, does it stand? Gasps rippled. Felt in draft shifts. Fury ignited. I grabbed interpreter's arm. Signing retort projected large. My work stands because I forged it in silence you can't comprehend. Ethan's ally, not crutch, our synergy elevates. Doesn't diminish. Applause erupted. Harlan's face, per Ethan, ashen. Aftermath buzzed. Headlines hailing, fierce rebuttal. Invitations flooding. But privately, doubt crept. Am I riding coattails? Ethan dismantled it nightly. Signing you're the gravity. I'm orbit. Intimacy reaffirmed, hotel baths steaming. Bodies mapping affirmations. Retrospectives high-crested at a donor dinner. Surprise guest? Ethan's parents. Unannounced, Lila's meddling. Table tension crackled. Silverware scraped accusations. His mother, voice softened. Interpreter note. Warmer tone. Ventured. Your shows. Moving. We followed. Father grunted assent. Adding proud. Son. And you, Alexander, resilient. Truce to thaw? I signed gracious. Thank you. Growth honors us all. Post-dinner walk. Autumn chill nipping. Ethan confessed. They want reconciliation. Full. I paused under sycamores shedding gold. If it heals you, yes. But boundaries firm. He kissed forehead. My boundaries are you. Return to LA crystallized choice. Lila's offer accepted. Hybrid model, bicoastal, workshops virtual/visit. Packing anew, Echo's tail wagging approval. Providence Pide Terra secured. RISD adjacent. Full circle. Winter's cusp brought climax intimate. Surrogacy greenlit. Egg donor selected. Queer artist friend. Carrier a warm-hearted teacher. Processes drama unfolded, shot schedules, legal thickets, my tactile ultrasounds feeling life's flutter. Ethan's nerves frayed. What if I'm like Dad? Distant, therapy unpacked. You'll be present. That's your revolution. Birthday dawned chaotic. Hospital hums, monitors beeping Morse. 9 pounds of miracle arrived. Our son, Theo, named for light bearers. His cry? Ethan's tear-streaked description. Tiny roar, conquering silence. I held him first, skin silk against palms, heartbeat sinking mine. Ethan signed over bassinet. Our masterpiece. Parenthood's drama ensued. Colics wails, Felton walls, sleep's theft, disabilities dance, baby sign language from day one, high-contrast mobiles for Ethan's visuals. Community rallied. Nannies versed in ASL, queer dads groups swapping war stories. Betrayal's old scar? Irrelevant now, transmuted to Theo's dimpled grin. Yet humanism tempers bliss. Ethan's father passed sudden, heart attack mid-golf swing. Eulogy in Connecticut, rain lashing graveside, family fractures mended in grief's forge. He changed, Ethan signed post-funeral because of us. I held him. Legacy lives. Spring with Theo bloomed. First steps pattering floors, tiny hands molding Play-Doh beside mine. A family show, generations touched, debuted. My sculptures, Ethan's paintings, Theo's fingerprints. Critics lauded. A lineage of love, defying divides. By summer, gazing at Theo's curls in park sunlight, Ethan's narration. Honeygold, I reflected. From that chisel's clatter, a universe unfolded. Grateful for the classmate who'd stood through betrayals, births, boundless horizons, by me. Our story, open-ended, ever-carving. Theo's toddlerhood tornadoed through our lives. A whirlwind of sticky fingerprints on gallery mocks and midnight feedings, syncing with creative bursts. Providence's rhythm suited. RISD lectures guesting. Lila's nonprofit thriving under our co-direction. Ethan curated traveling exhibits, tactile tales, pairing my works with global disabled artists. Borders blurred by touch. Echo, gray-muzzled sentinel, herded Theo's escapades. Her barks, vibrations only, corralling chaos. Yet adolescence loomed for us too, midlife's mirror reflecting ambitions refined. I pitched a memoir, Sculpted Silence, ghostwritten via Ethan's narrations, Braille editions for accessibility. Publishers clamored. Book tour beckoned. Theo in tow with Nanny Brigade. First stop, Chicago's Art Institute, signing readings to rapt crowds. Q&As pierced. How's love navigated disability? I signed, Ethan voicing, with patience, presence. He's my eyes, I'm his echo. Suspense simmered familial. Ethan's mother, widowed, sought deeper ties. Grandma Judy's, tentative. Visits awkward at first. Her signing stilted. Theo's energy overwhelming. But progress pearled. Baking sessions, her hands guiding his on dough, mine on hers. Your family, she voiced once. Interpreter conveying thaw. Ethan wept later, redemption sweet. External storms brewed. Harlan's ilk persisted. A podcast decrying disability porn in art. Our lives as spectacle. Backlash viral, sponsors wavering. Ethan raged. Ignorance's last gasp. We countered bold. Op-ed in The Atlantic, co-authored, dismantling tropes. Response. Ally surge. TED Talk invites. Climax familial crested Theo's 4th birthday. Beach bash in Rhode Island. Waves crashing anthems. Midway, surprise. Ethan's proposal redux. Knee in sand. Ring upgraded. Engraved eternal carve. Marry me proper? But twist. He'd planned elopement. Justice of peace on dunes. I laughed, silent but seismic yes. Now. Vows exchanged, sunset kissed. Theo flower boy scattering petals. Echo ring bearer. Leash tied. Witnesses. Lila. Queer kin. Crashing surf. Rings slipped. Sealing not start, but deepening. Honeymoon. Cottage staycation. Theo napping as we reclaimed sands. Post-nuptial glow-fueled ventures. Foundation launch. Touchlines. Funding accessible arts for LGBTQ plus disabled. Grants poured. First cohort. Riley from years back, now mentee turned mentor. Watching them sign inspirations, Ethan's hand in mine, fulfillment flooded. Yet betrayal's echo resurfaced subtle. Old Tyler email, apology laced contrition. Saw your wedding post. Happy for you. Sorry again. Ethan deleted, but doubt nibbled. Does it sting? I signed honest. Faint. You're mine now. Therapy revisited. Unearthing. Forgiveness not erasure, but integration. Scar as strength. Theo's questions bloomed age 5. Why can't you see my drawings, Daddy Alex? Ethan fielded gently. He feels them deeper. Art classes adapted. Clay for all senses equalized. Pride swelled paternal. Our boy, by curious early, waving rainbows with abandon. Winter's depth brought trial. My health faltered retinopathy flare. Brief vision flickers mocking. Doctors signed assurances. Stable but monitor. Fear gripped. What if darkness deepens? Ethan anchored will adapt. Always. Collaborative peace born. Flicker. Ephemeral lights on tactile bases. Transients celebrated. Spring's renewal. Book launch. Theo page turner. Braille bumps under fingers. Tour triumphant. Cities blending. SF's fog-kissed hills. Austin's live oaks vibrating music. Homecoming. Family expanded. Adoption papers for a sister. Foster girl, deaf and fierce, named Nova. With Nova's patter joining Theo's, home hummed fuller. Evenings. Bedtime stories signed. Ethan's voice layering tales. Storms passed. Humanism prevailed. Flaws as facets. Love's chisel refining. Decades mark post-RISD. Gala honoring us. RISD's hall packed. Speech projected from chisel slip to legacy. Gratitude to the man who stood Ethan, my light in shadow. Applause quaked foundations. His kiss salt-tanged, sealed. Gazing forward, Theo's school plays. Nova's first signs. Exhibits unbound. I knew. Story unfinished, but etched eternal. Grateful profoundly for the classmate who'd stood by me, carving joy from quiet.